You are standing on the edge of something, pausing for a sign, aren't you? That specific split second where the fog lifts and the path becomes clear. When the anxiety finally shuts up, you wake up and the green light is just there, glowing. You keep convincing yourself that you need to be steadier, sharper, and more equipped before you jump. You honestly think that once you hit that peak level of preparedness, pulling the trigger will finally feel easy. But I have to be honest with you, and it might pinch a little. That day isn't on the calendar. Not because you're inadequate or lagging behind, but because feeling ready isn't a destination you travel to. It's a cage that looks like safety. Every sunrise you let pass just tightens the lock on that cage. We don't view readiness correctly. It's not a pre-existing calm before the storm, somewhere down the line. We got the order of operations completely flip-flopped. We were told that the greats waited for a signal and then leaped. That is absolute fiction. That has never been the mechanics of success. The icons you look up to weren't calm when they began. They were shaking. They felt unfit. They felt like imposters sneaking in the back door, but they stepped forward regardless. The momentum generated the competence, not the reverse. Try to recall the last time you truly felt 100% prepared for a major shift. Most folks can't name a single instance, because massive life shifts don't come with a user manual. Your first heartbreak, signing your first mortgage, bringing a baby home if you're a parent. Were you actually qualified? Or did you just show up and improvise the script as you read it? Competence is the muscle you grow by lifting the weight, not the certificate you get before entering the gym. Yet we tell ourselves, this specific mountain is different, that this climb needs gear we don't own yet. That logic keeps you cemented in place. Here is the blueprint of the snare. Your mind is hardwired for preservation. It tags anything unknown as a lethal hazard. It can't tell the difference between a cliff edge and a clumsy social interaction. To your primal instincts, launching that creative project registers as the same panic as spotting a wolf in the bushes. So, it builds a high-tech security wall. It sells you the idea that pausing is tactical, that stalling is actually wisdom. It whispers that your hesitation is proof you need more data, more tools, more hours. Since this voice tries to keep you alive, it sounds rational, it sounds mature. It feels like due diligence, not cowardice. But look at the pattern. You promise to move after digesting 3 more tutorials. You finish them. Suddenly you need a certification. You get it. Now the market looks shaky, so you need to build savings. You wait it out. The perfect conditions never arrive because your brain prints new prerequisites on demand. The finish line doesn't just recede. It fragments into a dozen new hurdles. Every time you check a box, your fear invents 2 new boxes to keep you safe from the danger of actually trying. This isn't sloth. It isn't a lack of drive. It is your biological software running perfectly. It anchors you in the known, even if the known is slowly choking your potential. The sad twist is that you are exhausting yourself. You are devouring information, sketching blueprints, running numbers. You are occupied with the prelude. But rehearsing without performing is just standing still. It is avoidance dressed up in a work uniform. The price of this trap isn't always visible right now. You think you're just hitting pause until the weather clears, but the clock isn't paused. Every month spent hovering on the diving board is a month dry of experience. Every year dedicated to theory is a year you aren't scraping your knees and healing stronger. You aren't getting the raw data from the world, and you aren't building the thick skin that only grows in the arena. Your rivals aren't hesitating. The people who will occupy your dream spot in 5 years aren't gifted with better genetics. They aren't smarter or holding better cards. They simply jumped while they were still shaking. And that early lead snowballs. While you've been polishing your strategy, they've been launching, crashing, fixing, and growing. They have stumbled in ways you are still researching how to prevent. And those stumbles taught them lessons no textbook could ever cover. But the heavier toll isn't external. It's inside you. Every time you pick delay over the leap, you are programming yourself to doubt your own hands. You are solidifying the idea that you are insufficient as you stand. You are training yourself that safety ranks higher than evolution. These habits sink into your character so softly, you don't realize you are morphing into an observer rather than a participant. A person who drafts blueprints but never breaks ground. Someone who watches the game instead of playing it. So what occurs when you finally snap the loop? When you go before the light turns green? The scenery shifts, but not how you predict. You don't instantly feel like a superhero. You don't suddenly download all the missing answers. The reality is far more intriguing. You find that the canyon between your current spot and your destination is a crack in the sidewalk compared to what your fear projected. That assignment you've shelved for half a year? You open it and realize you can solve 80% of it with your current toolkit. That difficult talk you've been sweating over? You have it and realize you were strong enough the whole time. That venture you've analyzed to death? You push out a rough prototype and gather more intel in 10 days than you did in 10 months of study. The motion itself wipes the windshield clean in a way that pondering never could. You distinguish between the vital and the trivial. You start fighting real dragons instead of shadows. Your mind begins to renovate its architecture. Circuits that used to scream danger at the unknown start whispering opportunity. Your capacity for grit stretches. Situations that would have frozen you last season become minor bumps in the road today. You begin to cultivate what experts call self-trust. The bone-deep certainty that you can navigate the storm, not because you blocked the wind, but because you walked through it and didn't break. And here is the secret no one shares. The variant of you that leaps without looking becomes a distinct species from the one that waits on the ledge. Not ethically superior, but operationally distinct in how you engage with the world. You turn into a maker rather than a user. Someone who field tests concepts instead of polishing them in a vacuum. Someone who generates their own current instead of waiting for a breeze. We need to dismantle the specific fables your mind spins to keep you sedentary. I need more capital. Is that true? Or do you need to utilize what is in your pockets to fund the next mile? The majority of empires grew from seeds much smaller than what you hold right now. The barrier usually isn't the wallet. It's the vision. You cannot perceive how to start lean because you are obsessed with the finished mansion. I need more information. About which part? Because broad wisdom is a bottomless pit. You could read until you die and still feel empty, but targeted intel, the data required for your immediate next move, that is finite, and most of it is locked behind the door of action. You only get the key by turning the handle. The syllabus is written as you study. I am waiting for the perfect window. Describe that window, because if you are holding out for a season with zero burdens, no distractions, and total clarity on the horizon, you are waiting for a hallucination. There is no perfect window. There is only the hour you decide to put this first. And that option is on the table right now, this afternoon. I need more self-assurance. Courage does not come before the jump. It trails behind it. You manufacture bravery by doing the scary thing and realizing you are still breathing. The bold version of yourself you are hoping to meet only exists on the other side of the panic you are avoiding. It is not an entry fee. It is the prize. These are not just convenient lies, they are shields. And they persist because they contain a grain of fact. Sure, extra cash, more data, a clearer schedule, and high self-esteem would be nice. But nice to have is not mandatory. And every sunrise you mix those two up is a day you swap potential for a security blanket that is full of holes. Because remaining static carries its own heavy price tag. The hazard of remorse, the danger of rotting in place, the horror of reaching your final days and understanding you had the horsepower all along. You simply never signed your own permission slip. Motion doesn't mean being careless once you stop stalling. It doesn't mean skipping homework. It means realizing when homework has morphed into hiding. And you are the only judge who knows when that boundary was breached. For the vast majority listening, you passed that marker seasons ago. You possess enough right now to take the subsequent step. Not the summit, not mile 10, just the inch in front of your toes. What is a single move you can execute in the next day that inches you toward the vision? Not a brainstorming session, not a Google search, a tangible move. Something that leaves a footprint in the dirt, proving this isn't just a daydream. It might be messy. It almost certainly will be. That isn't a glitch. It is the design. Because flawed movement returns actual data. Flawless strategy only returns more paperwork. Your readiness won't arrive with a fanfare of certainty. You will be forged by stacking tiny moments of bravery. Each time you pick the scary option over the sofa, you aren't just closing the distance to the target. You are mutating into the type of human who doesn't require a safety net to walk the wire. And that evolution of character is more valuable than the trophy you are chasing. Because trophies rust. Who you turn into while chasing them is permanent. The divide between your current self and your potential self is not crossed by patience. It is crossed by friction, by starting ugly, by learning in the open, by consenting to be a novice when you want to be an expert, by having faith that the map is drawn for the traveler, not the spectator standing in the parking lot. You have been holding out for an endorsement that isn't coming, for a guarantee that isn't real, for a feeling of preparedness that was always smoke and mirrors. But here is the reality. You are as equipped as you will ever be right now. Any extra gear you need is found out there in the wild, not in the packing phase. The terror you feel isn't a red light. It is a North Star guiding you to expansion. So the inquiry isn't if you are prepared. The inquiry is if you are brave enough to stop using not prepared as a shelter. Whether you are ready to be the person who leaps and builds their wings on the way down. What are you launching today? Even if your hands are shaking, tell me below. Your time isn't approaching. It has arrived. Quit waiting for the click. Go make it happen.